So I'm going to tell the Mordecai story. Mom, I want you to comment on the Mordecai story, all right?
Okay.
So when I was in high school, I used to... okay, take two. When I was in high school, I loved professional wrestling. I know oily men in their underpants trying to make each other submit with the moves like the mandible claw and the cross-faced chicken wing. It's a little weird, but I loved it. My favorite wrestler was Mordecai. He was a religious zealot, a lunatic that did things in the name of religion. Also, while I was in high school, I worked as a bagger at a supermarket. When somebody wouldn't tip me, I would crush their bread and crack their eggs. All that destruction was stressful, so by the time break rolled around, I would go into the bathroom, start to relax, let it all hang out, and begin. One day, thinking I was alone, I impersonated Mordecai. I looked in the mirror and said, "Sinners, forgive them, Father, but I will not." All of a sudden, I hear some guy call out, "Are you okay out there, buddy?" You're shaking your leg, but...
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, all of a sudden I hear some guy call out, "Are you okay out there?" Yeah, that's, basically, and I say to him, I get embarrassed, I get ashamed. I say to him, I run out of the bathroom. He pursues me. He says, "I was inspired by your religious message. I would like to join your religious cult." I tell him I'm not a religious nut job, I'm a wrestling nut job, but I gladly took him up on his generous donation. I took him up on his cash donation. So first off, that's something I have to take into consideration. Not focus on the audience, not focus on people shaking their legs, for example. Stare at the back of the room, because, unfortunately,
Pick a spot. They always told us to pick a spot.
Because I know it's human nature to focus on things like,
unless you're a comedian that's using people in the audience to bust on.
I know, like hecklers, people that call out things can throw you off your game. I know, like sports teams, like baseball players. People often hold up signs or they stare at the baseball players to try to distract them, to throw them off their game. At a comedy club, hecklers can say something to try to intimidate you, to try to freak you out. What you need to do is you need to not let it affect you. I know it's human nature when somebody gives you like a death stare to start to panic. I remember I was doing a performance at the Psychosocial Clubhouse, and this one woman, I don't want to name names or anything like that, but she clearly didn't like me, and she was giving me a death stare. And it's like, how do you perform when somebody is giving you like an angry stare? It's kind of hard,
It is hard. I think it's a learned thing, that you look off into the distance. I guess performers learn how to do that. That you look off into the distance, and you're gonna get people talking, you're gonna get people, if you see that the audience is distracted, and then you're like, and in your mind, if you get caught up, they're not paying attention, then you'll get off your game. So you gotta blank the audience out and focus on the point. I think.
So what do you think of the Mordecai joke? Obviously,
I like that one.
Obviously, I didn't deliver it really all that well in this particular video, but I think that one's pretty funny. I think it's one of the funnier jokes that I have, right?
I think that's a good one. I've always thought that was a good one.
Right.
And I like that the guy comes running after you.
And obviously, this is based on a real life experience. When I was in high school, I worked at a military commissary, and I would bag groceries, and people would tip me. Obviously, I didn't crush bread or crack eggs, but
you felt like it.
Next door I would go to the Subway restaurant. Obviously everybody knows Subway is a sandwich restaurant, and I would go into the bathroom, we'll get washed up. And one time I was impersonating wrestling in the mirror or whatever, and I may not have even been impersonating Mordecai. I don't really remember. It's a long time ago. But some guy calls out, "Oh, are you okay out there, buddy?" And I embellished it. I exaggerated it for.
But that's what comedians do.
Right. You embellish the story. So I was probably like going like, "Oh," just making weird noises in the mirror. I wasn't like, "Sinners, forgive them, Father, but I will not." Although that might be funny because people might assume like, "Oh, this guy's about to go crazy." And then I think like the 180 on it is funny too, where it's like the guy was inspired by me. He wants to join my religious cult. Like that completely
and
changes.
Give you money.
And then he starts donating to my religious cause by putting it in my donation basket. So I think that completely does like a complete 180 on the joke, right?
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I think you've got it down pretty pat. You just have to, you have quite a few weeks before the performance, so you just have to keep getting up there and delivering it, focusing on the one thing.
And you know what I think I learned? Practice makes perfect. That's kind of something I kind of regret about college. The more you do your homework, the more you rehearse, the more you practice your lines, the more confident you're going to get. Pretty much if you have your lines memorized, if you keep practicing them, you're not going to panic because you're confident in the hard work you've put into it.
Yep. And you can see already from when you started to where you are now, you can definitely see the practice you put in.
I've made a lot of progress, and hopefully, spoiler alert, I hope that when I get up on stage, I'm going to just rock and roll, knock it out of the park, and really shine brightly. I think I will, because I'm practicing this multiple times a week, constantly, and basically, and I know Dr. Natural is really proud of me, because for years I've been performing to a camera in my bedroom to 10 or less views. And that's not real world, because nobody is viewing it. But this is real world, because I'm getting up in front of an audience, real people, and I'm performing to an audience.
Yep.
And I'm getting criticism from the comedy teacher. This is real people in the real world.
And for a long time, it was something that intimidated you when you said, you threw caution to the wind and you said, I'm doing it.
Initially, I had severe stage fright when I was getting up there. But as the weeks go by, my anxiety lessens. I'm starting to panic less. I'm starting to get more confident in performing. And I always, pushing through the anxiety, doing it, and I find myself feeling really good, like $1 million after I come back from the class. I guess getting out of the house, socializing, and this has been a good experience, and I have my friends from the Psychosocial Clubhouse to thank. They pushed me. At first, I didn't even want to do the class. I was going to bail. I was going to cop out. But they said, do the class. They pushed for me. I did. I moved this to end, and look at how this is a tremendous real-world accomplishment when I perform.
And you will continue to get better and better.
I will get better and better and better, and maybe someday I'll be the next Jim Norton. Maybe someday I'll be the next Jim Jeffries, the next Gary Goldman, the next Jerry Seinfeld, the next Dave Chappelle. Maybe someday I'll be the next iconic, epic comedian. And that is what it is?
That is what it is.
What? As?
Okay, I gotta go.